So one of the questions we get asked most frequently is, how do I get my ICC, or my International Certificate of Competence? And actually, as much as that, why would I get my ICC? So what is your ICC? It's sort of like an international boat driving licence. It's not sort of quite the same as a sort of a car licence, but you basically get it by applying to the RWA. And the process is free if you're an RWA member, or it costs pretty much the same as 1 year's membership of the RWA if you just choose to apply as a one-off. Tends to take a number of weeks for that to come through. That can vary according to how busy it is at the RWA, but you can fast track that to get it through quicker. Why would you want it? If you're going abroad, typically into the European areas, then most countries, most locations will ask you potentially to prove your competence. So if you're trying to charter a boat, to hire a boat, then above a certain horsepower size of the engine, you will need to be able to show them an ICC. There are various different types of ICC, and they're really linked to the type of craft and the size of that craft. So basically, within the powerboat world, we have a power ICC up to 10 metres and a power ICC up to 24 metres, and they're acquired in slightly different ways. You also have a personal watercraft ICC, which is achieved through having the personal watercraft certificate of proficiency. So you get that as a product of having your PW qualification and then going through the application process. In terms of that application process, then you will need to prove a number of things. And what we tend to suggest is it's best to actually look on the RWA website for those, but typically it tends to be a British national and or someone living in the UK. It's not quite as simple as that, so there's a need to go online and have a look at those rules if you fall outside those categories. So how do you get your up to 10 metre power ICC? Well, there's a couple of different ways, but the reality is that 99.9% of people will get it as a product of achieving their Powerboat Level 2 certificate and then applying for their ICC. So basically, people come to us, they do their Powerboat Level 2, they reach the standard for the award of that certificate, they get that certificate, and then they take a copy of that certificate, go through the application process to the RWA, and they get issued their up to 10 metre power ICC. That lasts for 5 years, and in 5 years' time you just go through the same process again. There's no need to do any additional training at that stage. It's just a reissue type process. To get your up to 24 metre ICC, you do it really in one of two ways. Either you undertake your RWA Day Skipper practical for motorboats, for motor cruising, and you use that certificate to apply just as you did for Level 2, or alternatively, you can undertake an ICC assessment on a craft above 10 metres. So we'll tend to undertake quite a number of ICC assessments each year on craft above 10 metres, so that someone can get their up to 24 metres ICC. And really, in reality, that tends to be people who have already got day skipper theory type level of knowledge. They've got boat handling skills. They've invariably got their own boat because it's not generally economic to come to us and try and actually charter a motor cruiser for an ICC assessment. And then they will do a 1, 2 or 3 day preparation course and ICC assessment. And how many days they do is really a function of how much training we feel they need to achieve that ICC. If they're going to do more than 3 days, then in fairness, they may generally be better off doing the day skipper practical course. The other one element to the ICC is if you need it for the inland waters of Europe. So there's an additional little bolt-on, which is the inland waters endorsement, and that's something called the CEVNI. That's an additional online course that you come onto our website, you sign up to that course, we issue the login details, you go through the process and do that course, and then that allows you to bolt on the inland element of the ICC, and that's really dealing with the inland waters of Europe, and there are some pretty substantial rivers with major shipping moving up and down those rivers, and the rules around all of that are actually very specific, not entirely logical, and there's a need to go through that CEVNI to understand those and to bolt that onto your ICC. There's lots of information on our website, there's lots of information on the RWA's website. If you've got any questions, drop us an email, give us a call.